بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد.
اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to have a weekly session on Mafatihul Hayat by Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli Hafadhullah. And our topic today is about cooperation, about ta'awun. Ta'awun is a term which is used in the Quran. It comes from the root aun. Aun in Arabic means to help, to aid, to assist. Mu'awan means the helper, and sometimes it's used for deputy. So we want to see that in Islamic social life, how much we need to cooperate. So the first thing that he mentions is that this is a Quranic principle, that we should cooperate for good things and good causes, and we should not cooperate for bad things and immoral causes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ma'idah, verse 2, تعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. It seems that we need to do ta'awun. We human beings are social, and in society you cannot do everything by yourself. We need to cooperate. What is important is to cooperate about something good, not something bad. So people normally they are involved in some cooperations, some collaboration, but they have to make sure that they are doing this for the good causes. So Allah says, "Ta'awanu 'alal birri wat taqwa." Cooperate for goodness and piety. وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Don't cooperate, don't help each other for sins and for hostility, for enmity, for invasion, for disregarding rights of people. So mu'mineen need to cooperate for good things. And good is general. Anything that religiously or morally is good, you should cooperate with. I am saying religiously or morally because we believe that there is a level of morality that every person understands. Even if they are not religious, they are supposed to observe certain moral values. To be honest, to be trustworthy, to keep your promises. These are things that every person understands and needs to be committed to. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in a hadith that we also mentioned, this hadith about Amr Ma'ruf, says, لا يزال الناس بخير ما أمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر. People are constantly in good condition as long as they enjoy the good and prohibit the bad. What? And is in addition to doing Amr Ma'ruf Nahy Munkar, they do this as well. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. So as long as they do Amr Ma'ruf Nahy Munkar and they collaborate, they cooperate for good things and for piety. So it shows that without cooperation and without feeling responsible towards each other, we cannot have an acceptable a standard for our community. Our community needs both Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar, which is a mutual responsibility towards each other, and ta'awun, collaboration. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam is quoted as saying, actually he's quoted as saying this towards end of his life, in the last, part of his blessed life. He used to say, تعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. He used to recite this ayah from Surah Ma'idah and repeat it before his death. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Al-Muslimu akhul Muslim la yadlimuhu. We talked about the rights of believers upon each other, and we had this hadith that a Muslim is brother of his fellow Muslim brother, or a sister of her fellow sister. And then Imam continued, وَيَحِقُّ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ الْإِجْتِهَادِ فِي التَّوَاصُلِ وَالتَّعَاوُنِ عَلَى التَّعَاطُفِ. It is expected that Muslims do few things. One, al-ijtihad fi tawasul. They try hard in connecting with each other. Al-ijtihad fi tawasul. Not that when it is easy and convenient, we connect to each other, we meet each other, we visit each other. No. Even if it needs ijtihad, it needs to do your utmost, still you have to do it. Ijtihad here is the term which is used in its literal or original sense, and it means to do your best. We use it technically for ijtihad in fiqh, which means to do your best in understanding Islamic rulings from their sources. But here it's used literally. Ijtihad means working very hard, doing your best, making the greatest efforts. So Muslims should do ijtihad fi tawasul, in connecting with each other, keeping connected with each other, wa ta'awun ala ta'atuf, and also to cooperate and to help each other for what? For ta'atuf, for being affectionate, for being kind, for being loving and supporting each other. So to be a Muslim is not just a matter of doing your personal obligations. It's a matter of also how cooperative you are, how affectionate you are towards each other, how supportive you are towards each other, how much you connect to each other, how much you have sympathy and empathy. These are all part of being a Muslim. I would like also to add to what is in the book from some other sources, because the issue of ta'awun is very important. So I would like to expand because the discussion here is short. There is a hadith from Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, in which he says, "Talabu ta'awun ala iqamat al-haq diyanatun wa amanatun." Asking for cooperation, for establishing the truth, is a matter of religiosity and trustworthiness. So I should not think I can do enough by myself. I can do what is adequate by myself. I need to ask for help. Even Musa alayhi salam, when Allah appointed him, and he was already someone who was made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Istana'tuka li nafsi. Allah says, I made you for myself. Such a person that from childhood was under Allah's care, and Allah is appointing him, but still he He says, I need a helper. وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي. Please give me a helper from myself. أَشْرِكْهُ فِي أَمْرِي. Make him partner in my affair, in this mission. So no one should think that I don't need help, I can do it myself, or our institute, our organization, our center can do it on its own. No. On the other hand, never think that you cannot do something when you see that your power is limited. Ask for help. Collaborate with others. So a mu'min should be prepared and willing to ask for help and to offer help, and should not feel hesitant to collaborate. طلب التعاون على إقامة الحق, seeking cooperation for establishing the truth. Diyanatun is religiosity, means a matter of your faith, your religiosity. Wa amanatun, and trustworthiness. In a very beautiful hadith in Nahjul Balagha, which is Sermon 216, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam says, فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالتَّنَاصُحِ فِي ذَلِكَ وَحُسْنِ التَّعَاوُنِ عَلَيْهِ. You must do nasiha of each other. What is nasiha? We have said this many times. Nasiha initially or originally means to wish good for others. And tanasu means to wish good for each other. And it is then used for giving advice. Otherwise, nush, it originally means to want good, to wish good for others. And because I want your good, I would then share with you my opinion as advice. So when it comes to the truth, to haqq, we should do tanasuh. We should do nush with each other. We should offer good advice. We should wish good for each other. وَحُسْنَ التَّعَاوُنَ عَلَيْهِ, and we should collaborate well, have good cooperation. فَلَيْسَ أَحَدٌ وَإِنِ اشْتَدَّ عَلَى رِضَى اللَّهِ حِرْصُهُ وَطَالَ فِي الْعَمَلِ اجْتِهَادُهُ بِبَالِغٍ حَقِيقَةَ مَا اللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ أَحْلُهُ مِنَ الطَّاعَةِ لَهُ. Very beautiful. Imam says, no one, even someone who is very, very greedy in a positive sense, for getting pleasure of Allah. اشتد على رضا الله حرصه. Maybe instead of greediness, you can say here, for example, he's very concerned. Because hirs in Arabic means greediness, but sometimes hirs means not greediness for bad things. It means lots of concern for something important. Like, for example, about Rasulullah, we have harisun alaykum. Rasulullah is haris. What does it mean? It means that your interest is very much important for him. In the same way that for a greedy person, his money is very important, for example, for him. Those who are very kind, well-being of others is very important for them. So, Imam Ali says, Laysa ahadun. There is no one, even if is very concerned for getting pleasure of Allah. And if طال في العمل اجتهاده, has been working hard for practice. So he's a hard-working person, very concerned about pleasure of Allah. Still, no one is able to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fulfill the requirements of obedience by himself or herself. So no one should say, I don't need help. We all need help. ولكن من واجب حقوق الله سبحانه على عباده النصيحة بمبلغ جهده. One of the necessary obligatory rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over his servants is that they must wish the best and give advice to each other بمبلغ جهدهم, as much as they can. والتعاون على إقامة الحق بينهم. التعاون على إقامة الحق. They must cooperate for establishing the truth among themselves. Means among themselves they should have this collaboration. No one is free from this need. Even prophets, even ulul azm, like Musa alayhi salam. On the other hand, and this is also very beautiful, وَلَيْسَ امْرُؤٌ وَإِنْ عَظُمَتْ فِي الْحَقِّ مَنْزِلَتُهُ وَتَقَدَّمَتْ فِي الدِّينِ فَضِيلَتُهُ بِفَوْقِ أَنْ يُعَانَ عَلَى مَا حَمَّلَهُ اللَّهُ مِنْ حَقِّهِ وَلَا امْرُؤٌ وَإِنْ سَقَّرَتْهُ النُّفُوسُ وَاقْتَحَمَتْهُ الْعُيُونُ بِدُونَ أَنْ يُعِينَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ أَوْ يُعَانَ عَلَيْهِ. No person, here we have both sides of equation. No person, even if his position with respect to the truth is very high, is great, and he is a person who has merits and history in religion, no such person is above being helped with respect to what Allah has loaded him from truth. Means he's a scholar, he's a marja, any person, he's a prophet, he is not above the level of being helped. And on the other hand, no one, even people who are underestimated, saqqarathun nufus, people consider him to be sagir, belittle him, and they look down at him, is lower than helping or being helped. So never think there is someone or yourself who doesn't need help, and never think that there is someone who cannot do anything and cannot help you. You know, I sometimes say this, that if you look at good, shopkeepers, people who have really business mentality, you see, even if they don't need money, even if they have lots of customers and clients and people are actually maybe waiting for their supply, they don't underestimate a new prospective customer, a new inquiry. You may have billions of money, but someone is asking about your product. If you are a good business person, you would not let him down. You would not say, oh, it doesn't matter. Now I want to have my cup of coffee. I don't pick up the phone. No. People who are in business never do that unless there is someone who is not really in business and they are, new to this. People who are new to this, yes, as long as they have some money, they feel enough, and normally they don't treat also people that much with respect. These are people who have quickly got rich, and sometimes they don't appreciate people. But people who have history, who have little by little come up on the ladder of business, they don't underestimate anyone, any inquiry, any potential, order. When it comes to religion, we should not be less than such people. It should not be the case that if I am unknown and I have no follower, and then one person comes to me, I stand up, I welcome him, I show respect and appreciation. But if I have thousands or millions of followers, then I don't bother. Say I have many of them. No, this is very wrong. If millions of people follow you and love you and appreciate you, and there is one person that you can help, you must be willing to help. Never underestimate any person. So Amirul Mu'minin salam says, even if there is someone that people belittle him or her, look down at him or her, is not lower than being able to offer some help or receive some help. We deal with human beings as human beings, and we don't classify people and say, okay, these people are good to help or ask for help, other people are not good. Yes, sometimes it's a matter of someone not being honest, someone be vicious, we don't ask them for help. That's another issue. لا تتخذوا المضلين عضدا. Quran says, don't take people who are misguiding as help. That's another issue. People who are vicious. We are talking about people who are not vicious, but they are unknown, they don't have money, people don't appreciate them, but they are good human beings, good believers. We should not underestimate them. So this is what Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam says in Nahjul Balagha, Sermon 216. Then we have also other sayings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and I say one more hadith about cooperation, then we go to the next issue, which is very much related and connected. ألا إن الذل في طاعة الله أقرب إلى العز من التعاون بمعصية الله. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam says, be aware that truly to be considered as low means if you are someone that people don't appreciate that much, but it is fi ta'atillah, for the sake of Allah, on the path of obedience to Allah, you become not popular, you become not very much loved and welcomed. You are not doing anything wrong, you don't have odd akhlaq, odd approach, but people don't like obedience to Allah and don't like people who are obedient. So you have a kind of lack of respect socially, although inside you have izzah, but socially maybe you don't have that much of respect. This is closer to izzah and dignity than cooperating for disobedience. For example, you are in university. There are students that do bad things. And if you become part of their team and their gang, maybe they respect you, maybe you become popular. But this is sinning. And you can be alone or just few, but you are moral, virtuous, pious. Maybe not very popular. Which one is closer to real izzah and dignity? For sure, the second is closer. إن الذل في طاعة الله أقرب إلى العز من التعاون بمعصية الله. To be disrespected or not to be appreciated because of your obedience to Allah is closer to dignity than collaborating for sinning and disobedience. Now, very much connected to this issue of ta'awun and collaboration is the next heading. And that is about forming, which is very important part of Muslim community, especially followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam should know that this is one of the most important expectations of Ahlul Bayt from them, that they should be exercising social wilaya. They should be connecting with each other, visiting each other, consulting each other, meeting each other. Exactly, not like family members, exactly as family. For example, Imam Baqir alayhi salam told his companions, اجتمعوا وتذاكروا, come together and discuss. Mudhakaratul ilm, we have many times said that mudhakaratul ilm, discussing, mubahatha, is very important part of Islamic educational system. In Islam, education is collective. You need teacher or teachers, and you need friends who take part in this journey with you. You take lessons together, you discuss with each other, you share your notes, you share your ideas, you ask each other, you check your understanding with each other. So Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, اجتمعوا وتذاكروا. You must meet each other and do discussion. تحف بكم الملائكة. If you do that, angels will surround you. Angels surround believers who meet each other and do mudhakaratul ilm, discuss good issues. Rahmallahu man ahya amrana. May Allah's mercy be upon the one who revives our affair. Your meeting and discussion is the revival of the affair of Ahlul Bayt, is the revival of their wilayah. They become very happy to see that mu'minin come together and discuss issues of common interest, issues related to knowledge, to ma'rifah, to piety. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam told his companions, اتقوا الله وكونوا إخوانا بررة متحابين في الله متواصلين متراحمين. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be brothers who are kind to each other, who love each other for the sake of Allah, who connect with each other, who have mercy on each other. تزاوروا وتلاقوا وتذاكروا أمرنا وأحيوا. Visit each other, do ziyarah of each other. Several times I said this, that when I was in Qom, I used to travel a lot. And sometimes some people were joking with me and said, ziyarat qabul. They knew that I have not gone to, ziyarah. I have gone to Canada, I have gone, to US, to UK, other countries. But they were telling me ziyarat qabul. As they say to someone come back from Mashhad or Karbala or Najaf. And I said, yes, I have done ziyarah of mu'mineen. Ziyarah of mu'mineen is not something little. Ziyarah of mu'mineen, if it is done properly, is ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt. So Imam alayhi salam says, tazawaru, visit each other, do ziyarah of each other, because ziyarah means to visit. وَتَلَاقَوْا, meet each other, do liqa. وَتَذَاكَرُوا أَمْرَنَا, and discuss our affair. وَأَحْيُوا, and revive our affair. It shows that part of this revival process is our visits and meetings and discussions. Very important. No one can on his own or her own help the cause of the truth. We need to work together. We need to do it in groups. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said to Fudail, and this is very beautiful, very heartwarming for those who have this habit. Imam said to Fudail, تَجْلِسُونَ وَتُحَدِّثُونَ, do you sit with each other and talk to each other or narrate our hadith? تُحَدِّثُونَ means to talk, to converse, or maybe to narrate hadith. قال نعم جعلت فداك. He said, yes, may I be your ransom. We meet, we sit together, we discuss. Then Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, please listen very carefully. Imam is not exaggerating. Imam is aware of all the requirements of taqwa. And still he says this, إِنَّ تِلْكَ الْمَجَالِسِ أُحِبُّهَا. Those gatherings, means those gatherings that you come together and do mubahasa, discuss scientific issues, religious issues, things that are about our wilaya, our affair. I love them. إِنَّ تِلْكَ الْمَجَالِسِ أُحِبُّهَا. I love them. فَأَحْيُوا أَمْرَنَا. Revive our affair, which is not a personal affair of Ahlul Bayt. It's the affair which belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رَحِمَ اللَّهُ مَنْ أَحْيَا أَمْرَنَا. May Allah's mercy be upon the one who revives our affair. This إحياء الأمر is very important. It's a concept that comes again and again in the hadith. One of our living maraj, Hafadhahullah, has an institute in Qom called Mu'assasatu Ihya al-Amr. So reviving the Amr or affair of Ahlul Bayt is a theme which comes again and again. So, Ya Fudail, man dhakarana aw dhukirna indah, فخرج من عينه مثل جناح الذباب غفر الله له ذنوبه ولو كانت أكثر من زبد البحر. Then Imam alayhi salam said, O Fudail, whoever remembers us, or we are mentioned in his presence or her presence, maybe he doesn't say something, but someone says something and he's there about us, and then a little tear comes out of his eyes or her eyes, a little, just like the wing of a mosquito, for example. A drop of tear comes out of love, out of sense of unity with Ahlul Bayt and suffering for their sufferings. Allah would forgive his sins or her sins even if they are more than bubbles of the sea. Of course, this is for someone who is not insisting on sin, but someone who has committed sin, maybe still has not been able to fully recover from those sins, although he's not doing them anymore. Imam says, with one drop of tear, the sins will be forgiven. When we have such gatherings, we add to our knowledge. or at least we refresh our memory. We discuss, we share thoughts. Maybe sometimes we do mention masa'ib of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. These gatherings should not be underestimated. These are gatherings that Imam Sadiq loves them. And if Imam Sadiq loves them, means Imam Zaman loves them. Unfortunately, nowadays, we are deprived from physically meeting and getting together in one place. But at least we can connect virtually now. But as soon as opportunities come again for meeting and gathering together in the mosques, in the Hussainiyas, in Mambaras, in the shrines, in the hawzas, in the schools, in the madrasas, in houses, any opportunity for meeting mu'mineen and reviving the affair of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam should be appreciated. So, closely connected to the issue of cooperation, Ayatollah Jawadi Amuri mentions the issue of organizing ourselves in the form of having either circles of learning, circles of discussion, circles of charity, circles of education, circles of planning, consultation, forming maybe groups, maybe formal groups and registering, maybe not formal. It depends on the situation. What is wise, we should do it. But for sure, we should get rid of mentality of me. We should think of we, not me. We. We cannot succeed in dunya and akhirah if we remain isolated to ourselves. In the discussion about collective nature of wilayah, I have very much mentioned and highlighted this based on the hadith to us. I cannot repeat, but please go to those discussions about collective nature of wilayah. How we should always think of we. Even in salat, we say Iyyaka na'bud wa iyyaka nasta'in, and at the end, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah as-salih. Not Assalamu alayya. Even if you do it furada, you have to say Assalamu alayna. In du'as, du'ai nudbe, du'ai iftita, ziyarat aminullah, ziyarat ashura, I have given these references. How we think about we. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin. Allahumma inna nashku ilayka. Mata tarana wa narak. Atarana nahuffu bik. So, always mentality should be we, community. And this should go right to our upbringing and education from childhood. Okay, today I have to stop sooner, so I stop here. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us all to revisit our sense of community and see what are the areas that we are doing well so we keep them and grow them, and what are the areas that we are missing. I think a great part of community life that we are missing or we don't do it enough is that aspect of collaboration in all levels, from thinking and planning up to sharing resources, up to dividing tasks, supporting each other. We need to work and improve our standards, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله وجزاكم الله خير.
اللهم صل. أحسنت.